Welcome back to the first episode of Season 3 of the 4 Ps. That's right, we've been invited back. It's actually our 86th recording. And as we know, 86 is an important number because it was the last year the Mets won the World Series. It's also what we used to shout out at parties in high school when we thought the cops were going to bust them up. 86 actually means, like, hightail it out of here. I think it was like a prohibition term. I'm not sure. But like Prohibition came to an end, so has the 4 Ps hiatus. I know it was a little bit longer than you all wanted, and the inquiries and requests and demands for our return were so appreciated. I promise you it has been an extremely busy off-season for the 4 Ps staff, which was really just 4 weeks. The 4 Ps was not only busy preparing for what is going to be an incredible fall and winter run of content and episodes, including amazing special guests, but on the professional side, it's been the craziest few weeks of my career. Moving an entire company into a new office, rebranding that company, hiring for senior roles, and expanding and filling up our client roster and pipeline with lots of fun prospects and brands. But I've missed you. So happy fall. Happy annual New York Mets disappointment time of year. Happy Democratic primary season. Happy advertising week in New York City next week. Happy UN week. Lots to catch up on. Now I know how the SNL writers feel after a full summer off. Since we last spoke, the announcement and rollout of the new brand identity of our company has come together and been released. Introducing Revelation. I am very proud to be part of the Webedia Global Network, but Revelation in the U.S. is a brand service partnership model taking the very best of what agencies and consultancies and freelancers and specialists can do with the agile resources of this big global network at our disposal for a variety of really, really impressive capabilities. Revelation is an aha moment of realization, of discovery from an insight or a creative message. But with Revel in bold, it shows you our personality. And the fact that the word has a French origin, meaning to rise up in rebellion, well, it's why we have Descartes and Victor Hugo as 2 of the new conference room names in our new office. So check out our site, revelation.group, no, .com, because .coms are so last century, and come revel in our ability to create a culturally relevant story for brands. I alluded earlier to having more special guests on the 4 Ps this season, and for this practical segment, we're going to bring on someone who is as digitally connected and digitally innovative and digitally native as anybody I've ever known and had the pleasure to work with and call a friend, to talk about the importance of disconnecting, which I just spent 4 weeks disconnecting from you all, and he's going to tell us how you can enjoy the freedom.
Yeah, well, one of the things I'm constantly focused on is how do I spend less time in digital media? What can I delete? What can I disconnect from? One of my favorite apps these days is called Freedom, and it's actually a paid subscription service, a couple of bucks a month. It's nothing crazy, but it blocks stuff from your phone and your web browser, and you can set rules like, I don't want to see any sports sites between 8 p.m. and 8 a.m. or if you go in and then like you try to use Instagram and it'll be like, oh, this content is blocked right now, or you could set things that you only want to see on desktop and not your mobile browser. So I don't have Facebook and Twitter and Instagram apps on my phone anymore, just so I'm forced to use them more for my browser. It's just so important to just try to clear my head and not try to just constantly get sucked into anything that's that infinite scroll. And so it's still a work in progress for me, but I'm trying to learn how.
At some point in 2018, I was gifted a free subscription to Men's Health magazine. It may have been as part of another purchase I made. I honestly don't remember, but 12 issues came. Unfortunately, I didn't ever open one of them. They made for a decent addition to the magazine spread on our coffee table in our living room, along with Harvard Business Review, the New Yorker, the Pennsylvania Gazette, Fast Company, and some others that I do open, and probably about 10 other car magazines that Jake somehow subscribed to and I am paying for. But as a man, the Men's Health magazine didn't change my life in a meaningful way. There was a point in my life when I was healthy and cared about my health, but those days are long gone. But for those who are still committed to their health, I don't know why, is this a magazine that educates or informs or entertains you to improve the quality of your life? Who's reading this? And last question, as someone who wants to support the publishing and journalism and media industries, can we start by first cutting back the crappy magazines before cutting important journalism outlets and jobs elsewhere? Or is this just another result of the dumbing down of America? Last week, I was honored to join dozens of other leading creative and media minds on the floor of the United Nations for the 2019 SDG Media Summit. Now, you may have seen some of my pictures on my feed, Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, but this was no joke. How I passed a background check to get that kind of access, I don't know. Well, at least we know they're not watching and listening to this. But it was truly a great honor to meet with and listen to and learn from, share, and work through some of the biggest challenges of our time with some really, really, really smart and well-placed people. Let's just say this was not your standard creative brief. So what was the deal? The United Nations has prioritized 17 Sustainable Development Goals. They're also known as SDGs. They are issues that most people agree need to be addressed, but just how these challenges are managed and prioritized, funded, staffed, it all varies from poverty and hunger to climate change and quality education for all. The SDGs are like this blueprint to achieve a better and more sustainable future for all of us. But in most instances, the biggest challenge is actually one of messaging and communication to the general public, or like what key actions need to take place. A lot of them very simple corrective things that we can be doing. Some of it's obvious, but the barriers and challenges to progress are powerful. I didn't fully appreciate. I actually wrote a blog post on the Revelation website about this week. But the US, Russia, and Saudi Arabia, just three nations, are doing terrible things inside the UN to block progress on climate change, for example. And if that doesn't make you mad as fuck, well, you probably stopped listening 85 episodes ago. So who better than the marketing industry to tackle challenges of awareness and reach and engagement? It was amazing being with UN officials and ambassadors, policy experts, scientists, and some of the smartest and most experienced leaders from this industry, right? Creative and strategy, media agencies, brands, etc. We were literally on the floor of the United Nations Secretariat building the week before UN Week and the annual coming together of the General Assembly. And while I do hope to be invited back, the 10 minutes or so when I had to step out to make a phone call and accidentally wandered into the top Security Council meeting while in session may make that harder for me to be invited back. But I look forward to staying involved because our goal is to lay a foundation and create a framework that drives a decade of action, because that's really the amount of time that we have to make some real change before some of these big things become permanent in terms of damage and catastrophe. Our mission is to turn awareness into advocacy and advocacy into activism. So if you're with me, let me know, because there are already some easy, actionable ways to help. Drop me a line. And thanks for tuning in. Season 3 is off and running. Well, maybe not running, because that would be too healthy.